Yes, here we go. P.M.P time. Celtic 2, Aberdeen 2. It was. Tony Haggerty just texted me, quoting one of my old phrases. Terry
Slobber
said
knocker.
that was a slobber knocker, mate.
Yeah.
You're right. That's
I was
exactly.
thinking the same thing myself, mate.
Aye, that was a slobber knocker, mate. That's an old school line that I used to use, back in the day. But I thought that was a bit of a slobber knocker. I know there's a lot of bedwetting going to be going on in the day, mate. I'm not feeling it. I thought I watched that. I think. Firstly, I'd start with saying on a 3 p.m. Saturday, that is the most engrossed I've been in a football match for a variety of reasons in a hell of a long time, particularly when it's Celtic Park. Well, we don't really play the away games. It's 3 o'clock on a Saturday, so it tends to always be. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know there'll be a lot of moaning and a lot of negativity, but we'll get through all that as well today. That's what we do on the bus. Hope everyone's well. It is a busy bus already. I thought it would be. Celtic win and it's quieter. Celtic drop points, it'll be mobbed. Tends to be the way it goes. But we're used to that. That's all good. Remember, do all that good stuff as well. Give us a wee like, give us a share if you so wish. Buy some hair, all that, carry on. If you want to become a Bhoycie Bus member, like some of you have, it's $1.99 a month. Big shout out to all you who do that. It keeps the wheels on the road and it makes sure that likes of Terry this month gets a wee gift for Bhoycie. We've still not decided quite what we're going to send them over, but we'll send them over something. And that is thanks to all yous who've been support the channel. Terry's been at the pub for, I don't know, half an hour. I remember my first
pint.
You can tell. He's on the 60% stuff as well, which is great. Remember as well, do hit the subscribe button, do hit the bell, make sure you never miss another bus episode. And piesports.com are the sponsor. It's 12.5% discount for your tasty pastry treats if you use the code Bus 1888. It's on the wee ticker at the bottom that Phil sets up for us because he's better with all that shit than me. Right, okay, Terry. That was a bona fide top of the table clash, was it not?
Yes, I'll start off firstly though, boys. I was at the pub for half an hour because I've embarked on.
I remember my first pint.
No, listen. I've got very heavy and I'm gonna try and lose some weight, and I've started this week, and my goal was to do some exercise and healthy eating during the week, and my reward would be half an hour in the pub tonight after the Celtic game. So that's why I asked you to push the show out. Half an hour. That's all I wanted. Just half an hour in the pub, 3 pints, half an hour, and that was it. So my wife left me down. She says, "What time do you want lifted?" And I said, "Lift me in half an hour." And she goes, "No, you usually say tomorrow. Half an hour. That's all I wanted, half an hour." So anyway,
Terry, on the bus, if ever we're going to be pushing the show back, it better be a good reason, like you're going to the pub.
That's a good reason.
That appeals to me, mate, massively. So I'm all for that. Don't worry about that.
Into the pub, 3 quick pints, and then laptop at the ready, and we're on. Bhoycie, I was really looking forward to this game because of the two teams 100% record, and they now still both have an unbeaten record. 2 weeks of no proper football with the international break. I always go on about how I worry about the game after the international break, and that was in my head a little bit, but what I expected was that we'd struggle in the first half and we would get the job done in the second half. But today it was different, but I think we talked about the last game. Today was one of those Jekyll and Hydes. The first half, I thought we were superb in the first half. And the coverage, obviously I live outside the UK and Ireland, and that I was able to pick up some coverage. And my coverage had Rob McLean as commentator from an Aberdeen perspective.
So did ours. Yes,
and he was waxing lyrical about Aberdeen in the first half. And I have to be honest, I didn't see it. I thought Celtic were utterly dominant in the first half. I thought we had loads of possession. Yeah, so what we didn't create lots of chances. There wasn't an awful lot of threat, but I thought we were very, very dominant. We hit them with the 1-2 and 2-0 up. Half time, jumped in the car, nipped down the town for a pint of milk, and my thoughts were the second half would just be more of the same, and Aberdeen's bubble would be burst, and it would just be Celtic marching on. I was not expecting the second half that transpired. We'd one wee scare in the first half, which was more. It was just Alistair Johnson tried to do something good. It ended up being something wrong, and Aberdeen should have scored. But other than that one, I really didn't I really didn't see any threat, and I kind of was thinking, yeah, do you know what? They've done okay against the Derry teams. They're now up against us. It's a different level, and they're falling short. But that second half, they come out, and if we bossed the first half, they bossed the second half. I have to take my. I don't even have a hat on, but I have to take it off and toss it to them. I thought they were superb in the second half, and probably for the first time in quite a while in any game other than a Celtic Rangers game, I was on the edge of my seat in the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, shouting and roaring, telling people in the house to get out of my way. I've got a 15th birthday party going on, and I'm telling mums to clear off out of the road. Get out of here. I'm watching the game. Piss off. I'm shouting. I'm cheering things that I think are goals. Then they're not goals. I'm shouting for penalties. It was everything. That game just had absolutely everything. And I know we haven't won that game of football, but I'm not overly annoyed. I'm annoyed that we didn't win it from a 2-0 position. I think that's pretty criminal. But I'm probably approaching it from a point of view where I'm giving a lot of credit to the opposition, and I don't think Aberdeen deserved to leave Celtic Park today with nothing, and they've gone away with a point. And credit where credit's due. I didn't see that second half coming, and I mean, this is an Aberdeen team, Bhoycie. You've got to remember, brand new manager, a lot of upheaval over the summer. They've lost their talisman. Guy that they sold for 7 million, somebody that lots and lots of our support would find their main goal threat. And that second half, they were electric. They were at it. And when I'm watching Aberdeen in that second half against Celtic with our resources and everything, I'm thinking about Europe. And I know I'm not trying to fast forward to Tuesday night or Wednesday night or anything, but I'm thinking if Aberdeen, with the restrictions they have against Celtic, with the resources that we have, if they can go toe to toe with us with a little bit of organisation, a lot of heart, then why can we not do that when we go against teams who have got much superior budget and opportunity than us? But let's bring it back to today. I thought Celtic were utterly dominant first half. Didn't create lots of chances, but we scored 2 goals. First one was absolutely superb, and I expected the second half just to be a stroll, and it was anything but.
Yeah, it was anything but a stroll, mate. I watched it on the same commentary. I've got to be honest, I thought it was a massive upgrade, just as a wee side note, from watching Celtic TV. For the commentary, I thought it was far better listening to Rob McLean. Even Billy Dodds was like,
well, he's a professional, isn't he? He's a professional.
Yeah, he was good, mate. He's good at it. And of course, if you're doing it for a certain fan's channel, you're going to be more inclined to be seeing it from or viewing things from their prism. So we take that on the chin, but it wasn't like it was over the top. I thought Aberdeen still looked a threat in the first half, albeit Celtic had too much for them. I thought we looked the better side out the two. But I think there was a level of respect that was getting given to Aberdeen for the get-go from how they were approaching the game. And it led to actually the way we scored the first goal. The way Celtic, for me, one of the big changes that we've made this season for last, we talked often about turgid performances, slow pace, lack of urgency, all these sort of terms. Today we watched the big difference I've noticed is, see, when we pass it for the back, everything's got purpose. Everything seems to be forward thinking, albeit still married with that patience. Now, if you rewind back to the first goal, there's a few times you have to go through the triangles at the back line with the passing. There's a few times you need to break their high line of the press. And it looks like, oh shit. Well, this time last year, we're putting ourselves into trouble here. But there seems more composure with that. And then when it comes to getting it from our third of the park to the opposition's third, we seem to be getting from A to B, or A to Z, whatever you prefer, a hell of a lot quicker, Terry. And as I say, more purposeful. It leads to a goal. And I think that's when, for me, I thought, obviously, going 1-0 up's going to help. But I felt that was where the quality was shining through. And the quality, I love Brendan loves that word. But I thought that was like the difference. I thought, fucking hell, they've done as much as what they could do to unsettle us, and we've just passed through them there.
I think basically what happened
when
there,
we've had that opportunity very quickly, when we've had that opportunity,
yeah.
we've actually capitalised on it and took it as well, Terry, which I think for me is a big difference from this time last year.
I think we scored our first goal because Aberdeen were prepared to come and play. And I think the Aberdeen performance today was, and again, I don't want to take away from today's game, but Aberdeen didn't come to Celtic Park and go completely recklessly gung-ho. They didn't come to Celtic Park and they didn't sit in. They came and they played a hybrid where they defended well and they also were able to have moments where they were able to be very menacing on the attack. But ironically, we scored from them attacking us because we got the ball on the edge of our own box, and within 3 passes, that ball was in the net. So it was actually a counter-attacking goal that we got. And I know that you're a maverick and you don't make notes, but I'm an old man and I make notes to just try and remind me of things. And my notes read 12 minutes. Engels hits the bar from the left after an error from the keeper.
Oh, yeah.
14, Engels should do better after Bhoycie cutback. 17, Engels from across. Engels is starting to influence.
That's the whip ball that he tried to whip that he didn't whip. I know the one.
20, McGregor has a shot over. Then my note with asterisks, it's coming. And then 23, Engels, Kyogo, Hitati, bang, 1-0.
So your theory there is that the Engels, once he's getting a hold of the game, a grip in the game, Celtic are now looking more of a threat.
I thought he took the game by the scruff of the neck in midway through that first half.
Yes, I thought he was the most influential player in the first half. I really did. I agree with that. And you're right. I mean, the attempt that he hits the top of the bar, that's the sort of technique that, when we talk about the 11 million, and everyone's going to obsess with that all season, so we may as well do it ourselves. The 11 million pound player, that's the sort of technique. Is that me? Jeez, so I don't usually get text messages. I'll turn my phone off, sorry. But yeah, I think when you see Engels' technique there and the ability to sort of curl that, and he was unlucky. Obviously, it wasn't a goal at the end of the day, but then he's grown from that. You're absolutely right. He whips that ball across. He just didn't get the curve on it. He was looking for the curl on it that he was trying. If so, that would have been a yard or so closer than to our ongoing attackers, and perhaps you get your goal then. But you're right, he was growing into the game, and not just growing at grabbing the game, I suppose, like you say, and unsurprisingly was involved in the lead up to the goal.
That's what we're looking for him to do, boys. We're wanting him to boss games. He's a record signing by quite some distance, and we're looking for this guy to. We want him to just take control of games and boss them. And I know nobody played well against Dortmund, let's be honest. And he had a one quiet game domestically, but he does look like a quality player. And I just feel he game by game he'll probably emerge more. He's gone in there. He's still a young lad. He's got Callum McGregor, who's a massive influence in the team, playing beside him. And I think the only way's up with Engels. I really do. But see the goal that we scored today. The goal that we scored today is the type of goal. If we get an away goal in Europe, I expect it to look like that, where we steal back possession on the edge of our box and we break quickly and we score within 3 passes. And what a ruthless setup by Kyogo
the killer. Kyogo the killer.
Absolutely ruthless.
Yeah, but the finish from Hitati is brilliant as well. I actually thought Hitati had a quite decent first half as well.
Yeah, Hitati was good in the first half, which I was glad to see.
He's the imaginative force in the team, undeniably. I think Engels takes charge and sees the game through a different prism. Hitati's is, I think, full of, as I say, imagination, and quite often try to pull things off that other players won't even have thought of. Whereas Engels is going to do the things. We're getting selling the positions to do things, that are going to be. That's what I wanted someone to do, but his execution is going to be shit hot at it. Whereas I think Hitati will try stuff that you go, oh fuck, now you've seen that ball was on, or never even thought, that cutback was there. Do things that you don't expect. Sometimes when he hits a ball true, mate, it's only hitting the back of the net.
There was one pass, Bhoycie, that he hit from the left-hand side out to the right-hand side, and it was just, he just looked as if he was just swinging at it like a tennis player.
I know the one you're talking about. Second half.
Remember it?
Yes,
Exactly. It was absolutely pinpoint. It just landed on the guy's foot. Here, Bhoycie, I know we like to rewind to the team lineup a wee bit. Did you expect? I think on evidence this season, that starting lineup, the midfield three is just about Brendan's first choice mid three, with Hatate and Bernardo being up for debate and McCown being next in line. But a lot of the pods, and ourselves included on some of the stuff that I heard on our pod, I think there was a bit of a clamour maybe for McCown to start, and Hatate possibly not to start, and even Bernard, maybe a midfield of McGregor and McCown and Bernardo, just because of the international break, players travelling all over the globe, Hatate travelling and not playing, Engels travelling, and I don't know if he played or not, but I think it's very telling the manager went back to that three, despite all of the upheaval over the last 2 weeks, because he'll have had McCown at training every single day, and he'll have known the miles that were covered by Engels and Hatate. I know Bernardo was away with the under-16s, as I keep pointing out, but he's still gone back. He's still gone back to that three as his choice of midfield three for today, which I think is quite telling, because
would you say on paper though there
was a clamour?
On paper though, you would have said, I think even once the squad was finalised, I just said on paper that would be our strongest three midfielders.
Yeah. On paper,
that's the three you would have expected, based on Hatate being valued at a 15 to 20 million pound player. Callum McGregor ain't coming out the team, and the other ones cost 11 million quid.
No, I 100% agree. 100% agree with you.
That would be the three.
100% agree with you, and I think he's picked in his head what is the strongest lineup he has on paper, despite the fact that a lot of those players have been flying all over the world over the last couple of weeks, which I just think it's telling. I just think there was a clamour for McCown to come in, and I wouldn't have been surprised, Bhoycie, today if he started Palma, given that Maeda had been away. I know he probably didn't get minutes or many minutes. I don't know.
Well, Maeda had his quietest game of the season, didn't he?
I know he didn't start game, but Palma, having scored his hat trick, and got completely ridiculed for his performance against Sligo. You score a hat trick and you get ridiculed. I just didn't expect him to go back to the on paper strongest team, given the players have been away. I just think it's telling that he has done. And what I thought would transpire today is, and what I was thinking at half time when we're 2-0 up, and in my view, absolutely coasting at 2-0 up, I thought, right, he'll go to the 60 here, and he'll give Carter Vickers half an hour once the game's done. He'll give Carter Vickers half an hour to get him ready for Tuesday or Wednesday night. That's what I was thinking. What's this?
I think a Rangers fans joined in. Hello.
Oh, that's good.
Hi. It's good to. How was it watching our top of the table clash today, mate?
Subscribe and buy some pies off Pie Sports.
Aye, buy a pie on the way out. He says, yes, the exact result I wanted. Yes, in fact, he says, so he's celebrating the game. It's good. It must be great to watch top of the table clash. But he was raging that the Premier Sports thing wasn't picked up and he had to watch it on a stream. It's funny how there was 13 minutes of overtime, eh?
It was actually 10.
I don't think it's called overtime either, to be honest with you. I think overtime is what you get at work. I don't think they call it overtime. But listen, if that's the result you always want.
Darby, can you share us onto the Rangers Twitter? Because me and Bhoycie like being on there. It does great things for our pod.
But no, but it's all, I don't mind. I actually don't mind any fan of any team coming.
No, neither do I. Neither do I.
We're
fair game. We're fair game.
So I'm only having a bit of fun. Right, okay. Back to it though, Terry. If we try and remotely stay on some sort of
we'll try and be coordinated.
It's not easy for us, mate. It's not easy.
Keep it structured.
It's difficult, mate. It's difficult. You've got the notes.
I'll do my best.
You You should host it from now on, mate.
You just keep going off in different tangents. I struggle with you, to be honest.
Oh, fuck, I struggle with myself, mate. I struggle with myself. Right, then we go 2-0 up, Terry, and it feels at that point as though half-time they desperately need, because that was Kyogo being the killer. I think it's a great finish, to be honest with you. Swept home. He has a goal and assist in the first half. And he is influencing outcomes in the big game. So that matters to me, that Kyogo's doing it on that sort of occasion. And by the way, I just thought there was today a big game feel about the match. See, while Celtic were dominant in the first half, I think it did have a big game feel to it because of the way Aberdeen were approaching the game, and Kyogo stepped up, and that'll be what you're looking for him to do in the League Cup semi-final as well, against the same opposition as stand up and be counted in this. As half-time's approaching, you feel at that point Aberdeen are dead on their feet. Did we miss an opportunity to not go further ahead? And should we have went further ahead, such was the dominance that last 10 minutes or so?
Aye, of course we should, Bhoycie. Of course we should. We were coasting 2-0 up. They were there for the taking. That one opportunity where they actually should have scored. They should have scored. The guy fluffed his chance. But like I said, whenever I was listening to the commentary, I thought I was watching one game and listening to the commentary from a different game. And I know we've said the commentary was quite decent compared to what we're used to. But I just thought we were utterly dominant in that first half, and we had chances. We had chances to make it 3. We should have made it 3. We didn't make it 3, but you're still getting at half time. I mean, you're getting at half time 2-0 up in the top of the table clash. And in my eyes, they hadn't really laid a glove at that stage. And I was totally comfortable going off at half time, I have to say. Totally comfortable going off at half time 2-0
Well,
up.
see what's interesting is, in the first half, if there were to be a threat, or there were to be something that Aberdeen looked like they were going to utilise as a weapon, they sure did in the second half early on. And it is actually something that the commentators, obviously you watch the same stream as me, were trying to highlight. And that was this Jamie McGrath player, who I had not really seen that much of before, or paid as much attention to before as what I was today. Because if you remember from the kickoff, he tries the slide rule pass right through. He goes straight line pass, Terry, right between the centre backs. That's what he tried from kickoff in the opening of the game. Second half, I think I'm just going to be honest. There was a few balls that he had played that he'd threatened Celtic with it, but I'm not sure what Celtic defence I've seen in my time supporting the club is able to deal with that pass that does then get the first goal. Because everyone's going to everyone's going to look at it from a prism because everyone's negative as fuck. And it's going to look at it from this prism of fucking scales, fucking trusty split. That is what you call a defence splitting pass. That's what we would be raving about had it been Engels who'd played it, and not one thought given. How shite with their centre backs, they're not getting that. I think sometimes, you said it at the top of the show about doffing the cap. I think with that pass, I can't think of any defensive partnerships. Caldwell McManus, they got us to the last 16 of the Champions League. I think they'd have dealt with that pass. It would have broke them as well, broke their lines as well. And a striker through on goal. I think he threatened it. The frustration I would have is this guy is closed down because he has threatened to do this from minute 1 of the game, let alone now we're on to minute 49-50. And this is now his third, fourth attempt at it. The threat was real, and it was there for McGrath today that he can sort of break the lines with a pass. He can get it through the eye of a needle sort of thing. That was his game. That's what he was trying today. And when he does it, that's the bit that gets me. It wasn't a surprise. But the flip side is, if you just look at the goal in isolation, I find it crazy that people... Here's the argument, Terry. I can see it coming in already. Stephen Mitzi comes in. Great to have you on the bus, mate. Needed CCV there. I'm not sure I subscribe to CCV doing anything about that ball. I don't think that's how it is. I think that pass is just one of those worldies of a ball. The weight on it. See if you look at how it's spinning. It's perfect in the path of the striker. I think the chance is created no matter what, and then it's up to whether the the forward for Aberdeen is actually going to take the opportunity, which I think often in Scottish football we could be quite pleasantly surprised by such composure that he showed, because I think even they'd said in the Aberdeen commentary he's not shown that composure this season, that particular player. Sockler or something. But I don't know, Terry. See, for me, I think I don't want to get into the bandwagon. I don't. You can if you want. That was a Celtic defensive crash there. I think that pass beats most centre-back pairings, and that's what football is all about, is getting it to the millimetre right. And that's the fine lines of football. And that pass for me was just absolutely outstanding.
Right, I'll go back to my notes. My initial scribbles: Scales and Trusty caught flat-footed, but it was an absolutely cracking pass. So that's my take on it. I felt initially, I'm looking at the two centre backs and I'm going, you're both flat, you've both been caught out, but what a hell of a ball that was. So I've got a foot in both camps, Bhoycie.
It's okay to say that though, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got a foot in both camps.
That's fine, and I think that's fair. But some of the pelters that the centre backs are getting, I think it's remiss. It's almost going to get to the stage where I think I've seen someone online on Twitter today saying Schmeichel shite, centre back shite. I thought, fucking hell.
If we concede that goal against Dortmund or Atalanta,
you've just stole my next point.
We'll say what a pass. But
correct, you've just stole my next point.
Because we conceded against Aberdeen, we're looking at our back two. That's
I'm so glad you've said that, mate. That is exactly how I viewed it. I went, if that was the playmaker for Atlanta midweek this week,
I have a needle pass. I have a needle pass.
We do this. We go,
Aberdeen, fucking Scales, fucking Trusty. That's the way it is.
I'm so glad you're saying it. What's wrong at times would be able to say, in that moment, that was just a top class, world class, whatever you want to call it, in that moment pass. That is what that was. The weight on the ball, the vision to see it in the first place, then the execution, the weight on that pass, the spin, as I say, so it was perfectly into the striker's path. I'm not sure over my short Celtic sporting career, for the 90s onwards, what centre-back pairing Celtic have had, even in our best days, read that ball coming through and then can actually deal with it as well. I think you've got to give credit sometimes. And not everything has to be, let's find a player to fucking jump on here and make it their fault. Sometimes you've got to go, what about appropriating the blame onto the Aberdeen player for playing such a good fucking pass and giving him the responsibility for the goal? Because that is what's killed that. That move is all about one ball, but that ball was a special one. And I'm not going to sit and get caught up in that's Trusty and Scales fucking showing how shite they are together. We need Cameron Carter-Vickers back. I think that's ambitious to think Cameron Carter-Vickers has any say in that pass not finding the exact line of travel that it did.
No, it was a cracking ball, but that's not to say that centre-back pairing does concern me. It does concern me, and we've talked about the last few weeks where I don't want to criticise Trusty. I want to give him ample time. That partnership just doesn't feel great at this moment in time. But on that particular goal, I have a foot in both camps. I think the two defenders, if you look at again, Stills look great, but if you look at a still, Scales is picking up a man, Trusty's picking up a man, and the two fullbacks probably aren't picking up anybody, which isn't the right way to set up. We should probably have had one of the two fullbacks picking up one and one of the two centre backs lying a bit deeper to pick up the run if the other centre back doesn't get the centre forward going through. But I think you do have to say that ball was played with precision, and if that ball was played against us in the Champions League, we would go defence, split and pass. I have a needle. Hats off. There's nothing we could have done there. But because it's an SPL game and because it's Scales and Trusty, both who, despite Scales, despite everything he's done in the last year and a half, both of these players still have to win supporters over. And I think that probably overrides the quality of the pass. And we're going, well, fucking one of those two should have done better. well, what should they actually have done better? They were both marking a man. Should they have left that man and moved into the space to try and anticipate the Aberdeen player playing that defence split and pass?
Play that level of ball. Oh, come on. It's just silly. And that's where I go. See, to me as well, if you wanted the grander look at it, Terry, as well, I want Celtic to have competition. We literally used as one of the reasons why Dortmund was such a high mountain to climb is because the game before that was Pishy St Johnstone. Well, we've just had a real test today, and instead we want to batter the players for it. I'm not having it, mate.
You can't have it both ways. So we're getting into the Champions League game on Wednesday night, and we've had an absolute slobber knocker of a domestic game the weekend before. So if we have gone out and beat Aberdeen 5-0 today, and we then go to Atlanta and lose 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever happens in these games, we would turn around and go, oh, well, look at what we had at the weekend. It didn't prepare us. We don't have that excuse going into this week. We can't go into this week and go, oh, the domestic game let us down. We didn't have a challenge at the weekend. It's hard to get up for a Wednesday night after you've strolled it on a Saturday. We don't have that excuse this week.
Yeah, we're running out of them, mate. They're running out. People trip themselves up and start being, what's it called, hypocritical. Because the reason one result was this, and then you get the same sort of negative result in Europe, it'll be, well, it's because it was that, and it doesn't really work for me in the terms of today. If it were my way, I would say this was the exact type of game we wanted to prepare us for the Champions League. Because it was a team that are going to have a go at you. They're going to make the defenders have to turn and face their own goal. They're going to make them think twice before giving a midfielder 5 seconds of space. He'll punish you with a pass, which is what we've seen. My concern then, though, Terry, is my PTSD for last season. And that comes in the form of, once we do face adversity, it gets worse. We compound it. And that is a European trait more than it is domestically. If today was a test for Europe, we did exactly what we do in Europe. We concede one, we'll concede another one at the back here. And they'll be in close proximity before we get our heads back together and find any sort of spell of composure again. We go on to dominate the game after the second goal. Funnily enough, about 10 minutes after the second goal, see the last 20. That's us finding our composure. But see, when we concede one, that movie is fucking on replay, Terry, being a Celtic fan over the last... you can't even associate it with all these players because it's different players, different managers. And yet Celtic seem to have this thing in Europe where they concede one, they'll concede another right after. And hello.
Oh, Russell.
Hi, Frank. How are you,
I'll
mate?
see you shortly. We're going over in December.
No, I'll see you shortly. I'll see you shortly.
Right, good luck, lad. All the best. Heal.
Top man. That's big. Hey, that's all right, Terry. Don't worry about it.
He's just brought me my straw.
Oh, aye.
For my vodka.
Aye, for your dinner.
Probably
Right, back to what I was saying though. What was I saying? I am sick though of Celtic, and if today was some sort of prep for Europe, it's some sort of rehearsal, if you like, and it was a side playing in it, taking on the challenge of Celtic today with the mindset that European side would, which would be have a go at them. Then once we concede one, Cherry, we crumble, and that next goal just seems to be inevitable. Yes, it's unlucky, the deflection, and again, I feel like I'm having to go out my way to defend Trusty all the time. Is it the most compelling of blocks that he tries to do? No, that's probably not. The optics don't look great. He looks like a 2024 footballer to me. And that is, they are just fucking pansies, right? They don't just throw themselves at it. They kind of, I don't know. They look a bit scared if it hits them, but they kind of have to be there anyway. Yes, the optics don't look great. But fuck me, to predict that's thing going to go in the back of the net and then give him pelters for that. His job is to block the ball. He's tried to do that, and then it is a wee bit fortunate, mate, to say the least, that it goes in. Again, to appropriate loads of blame on Trusty for that, struggle with it. And people want, what are we going to do about defence? And we'll talk about that later, because I've started a comment that's came in asking about defence. People are looking for the past when they're looking for defenders. They're looking for the past. You don't get many players that will be body on the line, putting your head in dangerous places, live for the tackle. Defenders out there, they don't, they just aren't there in modern day football. You have to get with the times. And that's not because I say I want that. I would love a no-nonsense defender who just throws themselves at these sort of blocks and makes it look, he still could go in, but at least you would maybe get less criticism if it looks like you're willing to put your body more on the line for it. But you're looking for defenders that aren't in the modern day. So there's no point in trying to do it. We are in a world where it is full fairies and plums, mate. You know what I mean? That's all it is. And that is the centre back that 6 million is going to get you now. You're not going to find a 6 million. See the body on the line, the all grit, all heart defenders. They'll be the lower leagues, mate, and not good enough for Celtic because they won't be able to do anything on the ball. Everyone's about technique now, and Trusty's technique on the ball is what's got him to where he has in football. 30-odd Premier League starts last year. 2 multi-million-pound moves in the space of 12 months from Arsenal to a Premier League club, Sheffield United, and then a multi-million-pound move to Celtic. It's because of what he can do with the ball and a bit of defending. You do not get anymore in the modern day these last line of defence sort of players that we hark back to. And Monty can say I'm talking pish. All Monty wants. Monty, I'm going to ask you for 3 examples right now in modern day football. Just put it right back to you. I want 3 examples, mate, of top level last line of defenders without you having to think too much. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, mate, because they must be 2 a penny. They're not about, mate. They're all different.
I'll come in. I know where you're going. I know where you're going with the narrative, but there were a couple of times today where there was last gasp body on the line challenges. One was from Liam Scales, and one was from Baye, which turned out the guy was offside, but he didn't know that. And the guy made his way from left back right across to the right centre back position and made a block. I watched Scotland against Portugal the other night, and there was bodies on the line performances. So I do have to come back against you, and I think there are still footballers who are prepared to put their neck on the line, their head on the line, their body on the line. I don't totally agree with that narrative, but at the same time, the moment we're talking about is that goal, and I don't blame Trusty for that goal. I think it's a freak goal. And not to fast forward too much because we will touch on it. The one moment of the game I had the biggest problem with Trusty was the Aberdeen goal that was disallowed, because he was extremely weak at that back post. He didn't get off the ground at all. And I just don't think that's acceptable for a centre back, that you're left there standing, you can't even make a jump or a challenge. That's the one point in this game. I'm really trying to not be negative on this guy, because I picked up on Starfelt, and I don't know if he became a cartoon character or if I became a cartoon character talking about him, but there was things about Starfelt's game that I didn't like in a centre back, and I picked on them and I constantly brought him up, and do you know what? I probably would take him back right now and put him back in there. But I'm trying really hard not to be down on Trusty, because I want our players to be good.
We've still not even seen him in his best position yet. We've not seen him once play left centre back yet.
Yeah, and I get that, and I'm happy to.
The judgment's a bit early, don't you?
No. I've not made my final judgment.
Not from you. Not from you.
I'm delaying my judgment. I'm delaying my judgment. However, I'm not enthused with what I've seen so far. And you've talked about on the ball. I haven't seen anything at the minute that tells me he's totally comfortable on the ball. And we've give Scales a hard time about being ponderous in possession and not looking comfortable on the ball. I haven't seen anything from Trusty yet that tells me he's going to be a mainstay in the Celtic centre of defence for the coming years. However, I do subscribe to the point of view that he hasn't played on his natural side, And one of the things that I was very vocal about was he was brought in very last minute on the deadline day, and then you're expecting a guy to come in without a pre-season with his colleagues and just hit the ground running. I mean, it's just representative of today's society. Everybody expects everything they want to happen immediately, and that won't happen with football players. Some of them will take time, and you can't just expect a guy to turn up on a Friday, sign a form, play on a Saturday, and be brilliant. And we're probably still in that, albeit it's not just exactly like that. There's been a few months go by, but if you step back and look at it, Trusty's Celtic career is in the very embryonic stages, and he's not on his right side. He's filling in for the mainstay of the defence, who plays on the right-hand side. But I'm not enthused. I'm not seeing an awful lot to get excited about. I'll be honest with you, and I might get criticised. I've not seen anything yet from Trusty that puts him above Kobayashi. I'm being honest. I've not seen anything. I've not seen anything either when the other team's got the ball or when we've got the ball. I've not seen anything that makes him stand out from Kobayashi, but I'm not making a final judgment on him yet, because I do appreciate the circumstances that he was brought in, and I do appreciate that he's playing on his less favoured side, which is more awkward to do. And the only time we can really, really make a judgment on this guy is if he gets a run on the position where he was signed to play, which was left centre back alongside Cameron Carter-Vickers, and that hasn't happened yet at any stage. So we can't make the final judgment. I would like to see a wee bit more. And that goal, what we're talking about, the 2-2 goal, I don't blame him at all for that. But see the 3-2 goal, which I've nipped off to the pub, right? So I don't know why that goal was disallowed.
No, Terry, you were only at the pub half an hour. Your C's slipping up.
No. But during the game, I thought it was for a handball. I don't actually know what was.
All right. No, during the game, it was a handball.
Was that goal disallowed for handball or offside?
Mate. Handball, mate.
That's harsh.
I thought it was harsh. I think.
If that's at the other end, I want that given.
Yeah, which is fine, and that's just being honest. And I think that's a good way of putting it.
100%.
Do you know what's interesting? I thought about this. Duke, I think, thought it was a handball. And that's why the celebration he does it. And the reason I'm going to point to that is he not the same guy that was on the line at the end?
Yeah.
And look his reaction to his handballing it again. Same reaction. I'll just over celebrate and run away like I've just scored a worldie, or I'll just celebrate like a man who's just put his body on the line, Monty? Right. I look at the two. I look at the two instances and go, the consistency in that is he sells things. He's a seller, right? So when he does a fuck up like a handball, he'll oversell to make it, to sort of like put it to one side and not it's like a game of bluff. That's what he plays. And the reason I'm so convinced he knows it's handball with the goal is how he reacted at the end. And if you look at
100%.
Now you know. Now I mean, I've seen this before today.
Yes.
So I see, to me, I think it shouldn't be a goal. Right? That's the honest truth. See, at first, watching it, I hadn't even realised it had happened. I was fucking raging, mate, and that is where I'll criticise. Trusty, that's what I'll criticise.
100%. Trusty is not strong enough in that. He didn't get off the ground. That's his problem. He's far too weak. Centre back should be bossing that. It doesn't matter what else is going on. One of the two centre backs should be clearing that. It was in his area. It was in his zone. Trusty's to blame for that one. And I think that's a goal. And I think Aberdeen should be aggrieved. And I didn't see a lot wrong with that, if I'm being honest with you.
Honestly, the more you look at it, the arm's gone at the ball, mate. And see, at the end of the day, you can't be scoring goals.
So do you think
can't score goals with your arm, mate?
Do you think that one has any influence on the final whistle one?
No, no, right, okay,
No?
just very quickly in the final whistle one. The
Yeah,
final
yeah.
whistle one isn't given this because he knows the game's overplayed already. 10 minutes, I thought 8 or 9. Right, I know they were saying the Aberdeen commentary that we were watching, right? It was 6 or 7. I thought, shut up, it's more than that. That's just subs, let alone the cramps and all that crap. And then the VR review that we've already had. I think once it's at 13 minutes, mate, he's like, you can't. Because it's then going to draw attention to Celtic were given 13 minutes to, so it was going to, he just wanted
which
the
would
game.
then become an hour. It would become an
It
hour and a
becomes
half.
another shit show. it becomes a, so I've got a feeling that if that Duke instance happens within the 90, within 95, I think they look at it longer. I think they start going, wait the fucking now here. See, at the end of the day, if the ball's come off his chest onto his arm or not, is that arm preventing that ball crossing the line? And I think they then go penalty. It's just my hunch, and I'm not, by the way, do not think I'm saying it because I think that's correct. That's not what I'm saying. But I've got a feeling that's the human nature bit that just comes into play, and I think they'll all have been sitting a wee bit panicky that this instance has occurred. And if you look up at the clock, it says 113 minutes, and we're about to give a penalty to Celtic before they drop the first points of the season. And I think that comes into it. Now, that is not me defending it. It's not me saying it's right. I just can't help but feel that's played a big part in the last one. But back to that goal. See, when it went 3-2, we are on the ropes, Terry, at that point, are we not?
If Leo was shout out there. Hi, Leo.
Yeah. Leo. Sorry, I've had that coming up for ages. I meant to say hello to you. I was engrossed in the chat. But yes, thanks for watching with your uncle. We do appreciate you on the bus, Leo. Top man. Sorry, Terry, on you go.
Right, Bhoycie. So see the last one. I've only seen it twice. So I've seen it in real time. Of course, I'm off the sofa screaming penalty when it's just pinball. It's pinball at that stage. The keeper's made a miraculous save, and then Duke has cleared one off the line with what looks like an arm. So real time, I'm penalty. Then you get one view from a ridiculous angle where you can't make a decision. And then the next thing, Nick Walsh blows game and everybody's off, and that's it. You don't. That's as far as things got for me. So my thought, I don't know Duke's reaction. And again, I take your point on it. Duke's reaction is not really an indicator of what happened, but Duke's reaction would be that he was 1,000,000% confident that he didn't hand the ball. And
but we know already now,
1,000,000%.
because of 20 minutes or half an hour before, this guy is a salesman and he is 100%, 100% covering up. Yeah. I think there's a bit of confusion just quickly in the chat as well. That it doesn't matter, a penalty's a penalty. I know this. Like I can't emphasize enough. I've said, I don't know how many times I've said, Terry, I don't agree with it. I don't think it was right. I thought it was a penalty. I'm trying to explain to you why I think they've not given it. Not condoning, telling you my opinion on why I think it wasn't given. And that is because of the 130-minute mark. And they'll know there's another shitstorm, another can of worms to be opened if they give a penalty. No, I don't think that's right. A penalty's a penalty. They're the ones who've not blown the full-time whistle, not us. But that's what I think's came into our thinking.
So you don't think Nick Walsh's part-time job has come into play at any stage? No.
What's his part-time job?
He coaches at Ibrox or whatever they're, Murray Park or whatever the hell it's
called. No, because see, to be honest with you, if that was the case, then Nielsen would have been sent off in the midfield for Aberdeen today, way before. I think a lot of people who were at the match will have felt like that.
I don't mind that either, actually, by the way. I always try.
The bookings, mate, he gave, though, for the other fouls is how you end up with Nielsen sent off. Again, see, to be honest, I don't think he probably warranted a red card. But see, if you actually look at the bookings dished out, Terry,
so many warnings.
He should have been off.
He kept warning. He kept warning.
Yes, but everyone else was getting bookings for fuck alls. Yeah. Absolutely nothing moments, mate. And that was on both sides. So
now listen, and Bhoycie, us dropping points today isn't on Nick Watts. I'm not even trying to go down that. I'm not even trying to go down that rabbit hole. Us losing points today is because we didn't get the job done, and we played a team that are absolutely high as a kite on enthusiasm and motivation. And do you know what? It's absolutely refreshing. And I'm sitting here and we've dropped points, and I'm annoyed about that, but I'm also pleased that there is a team that's emerging that is able to give us a game and isn't just doing what the rest of the teams do and sit in and try to keep the score down. I'm refreshed a wee bit about Scottish football, and I'm happy about that. I'm not worried about the Rangers fans that are on that are going, oh my God, we're 2 points closer now, because they're not closer, because they have a game tomorrow. They have a game tomorrow, and there's absolutely no guarantee that they'll get the job done. And I'm not worried about them in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not worried that Aberdeen are going to go and win the league. And I know the last night that we gave credit to Aberdeen and we relished the challenge and welcomed the challenge, that people then were going, oh, so you want us to get beat then? No, I don't. I want Scottish football to be the absolute best version of Scottish football that it can be. I still want Celtic to win in that version, but I'm just refreshed by what I've seen today from Aberdeen. And if other teams are able to do that, I totally welcome that. I want our game to be the best version of Scottish football that it can be, with Celtic being the best team in that version of the best version of Scottish football that it can be. But that was good today. That was enjoyable. Do you know what I mean? That's not my old man's over today, actually. My dad's over today, and he's obviously heading home, and they'll be disappointed that we've dropped points. But that was a hell of a game. And you know, we come on here after some games and we're trying to fill an hour in where Celtic have just had 70.
Exactly. Exactly.
We've just passed it about and we've beat the other team and there was no challenge. And you're trying to make it interesting. And you think about, well, the last 2 hours that I've spent, did I get any enjoyment out of that? Not really, because we've played a team that we should beat and we've beat them easily. And that's what we're meant to do. I totally relish this, and
Me too.
Fair play to Aberdeen. Absolutely fair play to them. And what
we want, Terry. All we want,
Terry. The lesson I want Celtic to take away from today is that look what Aberdeen did with zero budget against us with what we've got to go into battle against them. Let's us try and do that against teams that we are inferior to. Let's try and find a way to go there and get results. And
you're right, mate.
That you know, I enjoyed that game so much, and we've not won it. And I've enjoyed that game today more than games that we've just walked over and beat teams with part-time players. Do you know what I mean?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think JM's nailed it for me. JM's sharing the views that I've got, and brilliant to have you on the bus, JM, as you're often on the bus. And he says, totally agree, Terry. We moan it's a walkover and boring, then we start greeting when we get a right good challenge. It was a proper game, and that's what I say. I think Celtic, for me at times, Celtic supporters, we want to blame everyone else for everything. So see if we pump Aberdeen 6-7-0. It's Aberdeen's fault that we weren't prepped for Atlanta. Aberdeen give us a game. That's fucking not good enough, because Aberdeen are shit. Aberdeen are shit and should be doing that to us. It's just stupid, man. It's just stupid. I want the competition to be as strong as it is. They've got a manager with a box of ideas, mate. And he knows it.
Who's he managed previously?
So he was at Elfsborg. I think they either lost the game in the last day of the season, something like that, in Sweden. But he came from the lower league, and I think he'd been at a team before Elfsborg where he'd sort of got them going. And I think it's something, someone could correct me. So I'm doing this off the top of my head. Something like that's pretty broad when I say that. Something like 4 top 4 finishes with Elfsborg or something like that.
Can you remember the Celtic link with Elfsborg? Competition and player.
Elfsborg.
We played them in Europe, and I think we signed a player from them.
Was that? No, Malmo was the one with Ingberg Inge.
Yeah.
Elfsborg.
Elfsborg was the player that Henrik supposedly recommended to us.
What?
Henrik Larsson recommended.
Oh, no, that was the IK Stockholm. Bangura.
No,
that was
Bangura was Elfsborg, was he not?
No, he was the IK Stockholm.
No, he wasn't. Google
was
it.
Was he Elfsborg?
Mo Bangura. Mo Bangura.
AIK.
Mo Bangura to Celtic. I'll have £100 for charity on you, Mo Bangura. Signed from Elfsborg.
What's it? I don't trust you, mate. I don't know anything.
Let's go. Hold on.
I'm not betting fuck all.
I've got a second window open. Mo Bangura. The misfiring marksman was returned in December. Hold on, this is what Google's telling me. The misfiring marksman was returned in December, but it was clear there was no future at Parkhead, and he was sent out on loan to another temporary transfer to Sweden, this time to Elfsborg. Right.
So who did we sign him from? Oh,
hang on.
There's still a chance, boys.
Hang on. You've still got a chance here. Let's.
Phil McGinley's confirmed it.
What is it? What's he confirmed?
Signed Bangura from AIK. I knew it. See, fucking
believe you. I thought he was signed from Elfsborg. Did he score against Elfsborg? Oh, Phil says.
No, he's left. He went to Elfsborg on loan from us.
Oh, did he?
That's what you just read. Yes. You just read that.
No, I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you right now what it is. He played against us.
Ladies and gentlemen, did he not just read? Did he not just read out that Bangura joined Elfsborg from Celtic?
Listen.
And then he goes, did he?
No, I'll tell you what it is. He played against us in a Champions League qualifier whilst he was our player for them.
For Elfsborg, though, that might be true.
That's what happened.
That might be true. But Bangura, anyway, I don't know how we're talking about. Right,
anyway, there was a link to Elfsborg.
There was, mate, there was. Anyway, there's a couple of comments that came in. I want to bring up Phil again, believe it or not. He says, after 8 games in the invincible treble season, Celtic won 7, they drew 1, 22 points. The difference is, so it's the same what we're on now. The difference is there's another team there with us, but the Dons won't last the pace of a 38 games. And the same goes for Rangers. Well, if I remember rightly, it was the Dons that finished second that year as well. Phil, Rangers third in the invincible year. But, yeah, I think that's the bigger sort of picture, sort of approach that I've been doing today, looking at it going, this season, we've played far better football than what we have last season already. We've won 7 out of 7. We've got to the 8th game against a team who had a 100% record as well, and we've played out a slobber knocker, a 2-2 draw with them. That, for me, domestically, I'm in the League Cup semi-final. We're ticking every box domestically right now. I'm cool with it. I'm not going to start thinking that this was a bedwetting exercise today, where everything needs to be cast up and players need thrown under the bus.
That's going to be some game, that semi now, like.
Well, we're going to get to that one next because Michelle had came in and she'd said, so here's a question. What do Celtic as a team change now for our semi-final match against Aberdeen? I'll put that to you, Terry.
So when's that game, Bhoycie? Do you have a rough idea? Is that before? It's probably November sometime.
We can find out, big boy. We can find
I don't know. I don't know that we need to change a lot. I mean, I'm always prepared to give some kind of mitigation to this first game after the international break, but I think we just need to tighten up. We probably need to hope that Carter Vickers is available for that game. I think everything looks much more secure with him in the side. In terms of Bhoycie, I'm looking at Bhoycie now and thinking again in a short space of time and just a quick snap reaction. I'm probably looking at Bhoycie and thinking Bhoycie's probably in and around Taylor's level, and we're not really disadvantaged. Whichever
Saturday, 2nd November, by the way, just so you know.
2nd November. So we're 2 weeks away. I'm looking at Bhoycie, and I don't think there's a massive downgrade there on Taylor. I think they're probably on a par, and I don't know what's happening with Taylor.
And he's 20. He's 20,
Yeah,
that boy.
I don't know what's happening with Taylor contractually, right? That's a strange one because we don't let players run their contracts down. We haven't let that happen for a long time, and Taylor's contract's running down. So because of that, I'm pretty sure Greg Taylor will leave Celtic at the end of this season. And again, there's a normal sort of clamour for KT and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking at Bhoycie as possibly someone that we could get. He's not gonna break into Barcelona's first team, let's face it. But what I've seen from him so far, I'm thinking I don't really care if it's Taylor or him. I think he's probably capable of putting in the same level of performance as Greg Taylor. But we need Carter Vickers back in. And I think if Carter Vickers slots back in there, and again, I know we're talking about the moments in the game, and if Carter Vickers was on, that defense splitting pass would still have happened. Yeah, it probably would. But I think the whole thing about Carter Vickers is it's just that feeling that he gives to everybody else. We've got somebody at the back who's got this all covered. And that's more a mentality thing than moments in the game type thing. And I hope he's fit for during the week, because if we go to Italy with Scales and Trusty, I probably don't see a way that we get a result, as much as I hope we do. And even if Carter Vickers is fit, it's very, very difficult to see a result. But if we're looking at this Aberdeen semi that's coming up, what changes from today? Well, we don't have home advantage. We have a stadium that, given the run they're on, they'll probably get the maximum support that they can get. So it'll probably be half and half for that game, because Aberdeen are on such a wave of optimism. They'll probably sell out their tickets for the semi-final. So it'll probably be half and half, which again makes for a tremendous spectacle and a wonderful game. And what do we do differently? We hope Carter Vickers plays. And I think it's a simple one. We get the first half performance and we replicate that for two halves. And if there was no international games and we had 2 full weeks to prepare for this game, which most of the Aberdeen players will have had, would the second half have played out the same as the first half? There's probably more of a chance that it would. Do I think we'll come through that semi-final game? Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely, under no doubt.
We learned a bit today as well about them, didn't we? You know, it's a quid pro quo thing. You know, you want to give a bit, you need to give us something in return. You know what I mean? In terms of, if we're going to see all the strengths of Aberdeen, that is going to have to be, when you come to Celtic, but come with a cost. And the price on that means is we'll find out some of your weaknesses that we can expose as well. And then it's about exposing the weaknesses that we have identified upon reflection and focusing on them more, and then how to nullify, obviously, you know, shitey wee balls for the middle of the park for Jim McGrath. And we'll be fine.
I see it differently. I think we look at them and we take that as our blueprint for trying to go into Europe, because that's the learning that I take from today's game. And I hope that the manager and the players take that, as they look at a team with so much inferiority. Who's that? So much inferiority in terms of budget and everything going for them. The bit I take from that is, hang on a minute here. Why can we not do that when we come up against a team with better resources and better budget, and we go away to them and they've got the whole stadium full of their own fans and we've got a wee corner? Why can Aberdeen do that against us and we can't do that against anyone else? That's what I take from it, boys.
Yeah, there's a lot of inspiration to take for that, Terry. Definitely.
Anyway, Arsenal are losing 2-0 against Bournemouth. So,
nobody cares.
Football isn't easy.
Nobody cares, mate. I
Football
don't care
isn't easy.
about Bournemouth and all that shite.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we go?
Yes, my final thoughts are.
Yes. I like that. That sounded quite. You sounded quite. You sounded quite
positive.
full of wisdom there the way you said yes there. I'm quite looking forward to this outlook.
No, but listen, we come on here, you and me come on here after 90% of the European games, and we're doom and gloom, and we've been beaten, or God forbid we come on after a Rangers game and there's 10,000 of their fans on making jokes about us and slagging us off and putting us on Twitter and everybody's giggling. But today we've played against another team in the SPL that isn't Rangers, and we've had an absolutely fantastic match that was like a basketball game at times, certainly in the second half. I do think we dominated the first half. The second half, Aberdeen were on the front foot, but it was end to end. It was like a basketball game. It was enjoyable. It had us engaged. Bhoycie, for so long, Celtic supporters have been watching matches and they haven't been engaged. They've been one eye on the match because it's too easy, one eye on their phone, messaging people and doing social media. Today, I was 100% laser focused in that game, and that's because the opposition have come to Celtic Park and they've took it to us, and they have produced a performance that is punching above their weight. And despite my disappointment that Celtic's unbeaten record still there, our 100% record isn't there, I'm still positive that we've took part in a match that has been so enjoyable and so exciting. And yeah, we haven't got the result, but my goodness, that was a tremendous game of football. And you have to give a lot of credit to the other team and their manager and their supporters, who are on an absolute crest of a wave. And I totally welcome it. I welcome it. And let's, at this moment in time, if you said to me right now, what game are you looking forward to the most over the next 3-4 months? My knee-jerk answer is Aberdeen away, the next game. That's the game I'm looking forward to. That's the number one game on my list, is when we go to Pittodrie to play this Aberdeen team that are on a crest of a wave, that are punching above their weight, that have given us an absolute slobber knocker, that have pushed us to our total limits today. What's the next game? I'm not looking forward to Celtic at Ibrox on New Year. I'm looking forward to Celtic at Pittodrie. That's the game I'm looking forward to from today.
Yeah, I think what's undeniable for what Aberdeen produced at Celtic Park today, and I know they'll be gloating that it dropped points. Drop points mean you're in denial of what you've watched today, and I think for a lot of the other side of Glasgow's fans, it's what they've seen today was two teams better than them.
Who have they got tomorrow?
Come on, go away.
Drop points.
Come on.
Stuff.
I think drop points. I think they'll drop points tomorrow.
Fucking stuff. They'll gloat about us dropping points today, and they'll go further behind tomorrow.
Yeah, they'll be 6 points behind coming in. If they lose, what are they right now? 6 points behind. So if they draw, they'll be status quo. They'll still be 5 points.
They'll get beat. McGuinness will sort that out.
I think that they're vulnerable, mate. And do you know what it will be as well? This will be then. So wait. When Celtic do drop points, you do get opportunity. Your bottle still crashes. So your bottle's crashing in all aspects. I watched Aberdeen today, and see their fans who are honest with themselves from Rangers' perspective. Not to focus on it, but
Rangers must play Aberdeen the next 3 games the next 2 games, because how many teams are in this league? Is it 10 or 12? 12.
18, mate.
No, it's fucking not 18. It's 12. Is it 12?
I knew you'd reply to them.
12. Rangers and Aberdeen haven't played this season. That'd be an interesting game.
Right.
If Rangers were playing
Aberdeen Rangers is a Wednesday night, mate. 30th October.
So
11 days time.
Wednesday
night at Pittodrie. Aberdeen by miles.
Yeah, you would.
By a long way. Like a convincing one. And this is the point I was trying to make was the Rangers fans who watched that game today might celebrate because The only reason they are is because it's points dropped on both sides. But deep down, those who watched that game, the 90 minutes, will have watched two teams better than their own. I know and own that. And that is the reality of what I've watched today compared to the Rangers side that we played early season. Aberdeen, well, to me, not even just one or two, a few levels above. And the way they approached the game was far more positive than what Rangers did at our ground. I felt there was. I think and that's a Wednesday night at Pittodrie too, which means a wee bit toxicity in there, which is all good for football. I like that. I bet that game's on the telly. Just quickly tell you before we go, I did want your thoughts because it came up. I was a bit surprised. Big Phil last night. I think it's the first time I've ever disagreed with him in my life. But he thought Celtic were right to turn down the TV deal. A lot of the comments that were coming in were sort of saying, 70 grand, it's not worth it. I think Celtic need to be bigger than that, Terry. And I looked at that game of football today, and I think that's a real miss. That wasn't something that could have been arranged to have been whether a half 12 kickoff or a half 5 kickoff. And if we got that same game of football, that promotes the Scottish football brand tenfold. Because that was something, as you've pointed out, you usually have a wee glance at the phone. No, you weren't. You were laser focused, was your words. How many neutrals, they might have a Premier Sports subscription for whatever reason, tune into that and go, oh, I'm hooked. I'm in. And they get peak viewers that they don't normally get for this sort of trial thing they're doing now where they can buy the odd game. That to me was a fixture worthy of national TV. And if, for me personally, if Celtic's retort is, think of the fans then. Because Celtic proclaim themselves to be a worldwide supporter base. And they proclaim themselves far more on the waiting list for season tickets as well. Well, think of those then that can't get a ticket for the game. Think of getting access to them. You can't have it both ways. There's only 52 or 57,000 fans one minute and then say, well, we've got millions the next. But then just make an exclusive club for the 57,000 who bought the season tickets. And the argument of, personally, 75 grand, Celtic are going to laugh at that money. Surely we've got to be bigger than that. We know that's not going to be the money it's going to make or break us as a club. But the exposure and actually maximising TV deals, which the Scottish Football League kind of tends to be shit at doing, that was a missed opportunity. And by the way, we had Rob McLean on Aberdeen TV to what? How many Aberdeen fans are there worldwide? Because they couldn't watch it, the Aberdeen fans in Scotland. We had Celtic TV doing a broadcast today. I know in the UK and Ireland can watch it, but there's the broadcast getting made anyway. Everyone knows how they're getting watched. Everyone knows it's getting streamed. Why would you not be just taking advantage of the TV deal? Because we're going to watch it legally anyway. And that's life. I thought it was a naive decision that I thought was, to be honest, I didn't think it was in the interest of Scottish football. And then if you want to say it was in the interest of Celtic, well, I'd say it was in the interest of 57,000 Celtic fans, not the world, the multitude of fans that we've got across the UK and Ireland that had to, enjoy Rob McLean's commentary today instead.
Right. So, 1 second. We did sign Mo Vancouver from AIK. We did loan him to Elfsberg, and then we played Elfsberg, and he played against us whilst we paid his wages, and he was on. I
thought we covered this.
So thank you, Phil, for covering that. No, I just needed to get it all reconciled. Right. That's good, so mate. My thoughts on this one, Bhoycie, right, is it's all about timing. So when was this game picked for? Is it Premier Sports?
No, so Premier Sports from the start of this season now have a wild card almost. I think it's to cover the fixtures.
When did they invoke that wild card for this match?
No, so they asked. They then need permission of both clubs. And
So when did they ask? When Aberdeen had won 6 out of 6?
Yeah, of course it would be that. That makes the game sexier.
I'm with Phil then.
So you want them to call it? You want to call it early and predict? You want them to predict Aberdeen? Oh,
no, I don't.
Surely, as stories play out, Terry. Surely, as a plot plays out, you then take advantage of said situations, and you think, if they didn't know it was going to be a good game before, then fuck them. I can't believe how small-minded that is. I don't get it.
Yeah. Okay. Right, Bhoycie. Right. I've got I've got a slight foot in both camps, right? But let's play this out. Let's play this out in my head. So, this game at the start of the season hasn't been earmarked for TV. Premier Sports,
By Sky.
Premier Sports have got this wild card option that they can go, okay, we'll do that game, and you'll get a couple.
They'll go 75 grand to each club. Any chance we can move this, and we'll put this in the national broadcasters. Right. By the way, there's quite a story brewing here.
Okay. And this game today, now this is in hindsight, this game today is by a million miles the best game there has been in the SPL this season. By a million miles.
Guaranteed.
And you could probably have predicted before this game that this game would be the best game in the SPL this season. However, if this hasn't been resolved, if this game hasn't been picked months in advance, and you've got...
That's not how it's going to work with the Premier Sports ones.
Hold on. That's okay. Not how it's going to work. That's okay. That's okay, right.
You're just made a hypothetical situation that doesn't exist.
No.
If it's not been picked months before, then it won't be on Premier Sports because it'll be Sky who has that gift. Right. Premier Sports are going to be after. They're going to be the one that go, how about this? Let's cherry pick that fixture now. They're going to be the ones that are going concurrently with how a season's panning out, picking and choosing games that Sky don't choose that are going to now be sexy.
Okay. You've got 8,000 supporters. 8,000. Now, I'm going 8,000. I'm going 8,000. Out of our 60,000 capacity, I'm going 8. I'll go 10, round it up to 10. So we've 10,000 that are travelling from outside of Scotland to come to this game. When the fixtures have been released, hey Jim and Johnny, when the fixtures have been released at the start of the season, you've got 10,000 supporters from outside of Scotland who book to come to this game. They're coming from Ireland. They're coming from England.
Yep.
They're coming from Europe. They may be coming from Japan. They may be coming from Australia. They may be coming from America. They book this game.
Yep.
Premier Sports, after Aberdeen, make a start that nobody expected them to make. Premier Sports then fire 75 grand towards Celtic and go, we want that game.
Which is the set fee that was agreed as part of the TV deal. A TV deal we can't negotiate better because we're so small-minded. Yeah?
Fair. But if you're in that 10,000 people who have made fucking preparations at a lot of expense, at a higher percentage of your exposable wage, how the fuck do you feel? Unacceptable.
But that's the thing though with life, isn't it? It's all about compromise and sacrifice, and unfortunately, that would be your collateral damage with that. And I am not justifying that, and I think that bit's a totally fair argument. I think it's a totally fair argument.
No, I have.
If you go bigger picture-wise,
I have a foot in both camps.
But if you go bigger picture, you want to promote the game, then you have to take these hits.
We're trying.
And moving it by 2 hours earlier or 2 hours later is going to cost. It's not going to cost all 10,000, by the way, because some will book for the weekend, right? So it's not all 10,000 then wiped out.
We're trying to get bigger and better TV deals, and if we're pushing away offers, then we're not going to get to that next level in terms of financial income coming from the TV deals. I get both arguments, but it depends what camp you're in. Like, see today, I haven't spoke to my dad today, right? He sent me a message. He sent me a message at 2:00 saying he was in the stadium and he was looking forward to the game, and it's my son's birthday and he wished him a happy birthday. But I'll be honest with you, see when that board went up to say 10, they were probably gone, because see if they don't go at 10 to 5.
Yep.
That boat goes without them. And you multiply that out across that 10,000 Celtic supporters. You've a massive amount of people who are inconvenienced by the broadcaster going, oh, we're going to give you 75 grand.
But the 75 grand's so far away from it. The 75 grand, I can't emphasize enough, should be the furthest away point of all this. It should be the one that's redundant. No one cares about the 75 grand. We agree. But if you want to then moan when Sky come back in next time around, and I've said this, I've been consistent with this, and I stand by it. Our best game, you just said, by a country mile that's happened in this domestic league this season, we chose not to put on. And it's because 10,000 people, and not all the 10,000, some of the 10,000 are going to be very much inconvenienced, very much out of pocket. Then that will continue the small mentality and unfortunately the small size and small scale that the SPFL holds in terms of TV bargaining rights.
I know.
And until you get these games, I put it this way. This is a great way of looking at it. If it was a Barry Hearn looking at Scottish football, he would be ruthless, mate, and say, you're fucking taking the deal. And we're going to get you the exposure. And that's how we're going to get your league back up and running.
The 10,000
and that's what you need in sport. Because if darts can get the crowds it does, how the SPFL is still now competing out with women's football in England, no disrespect to women's football whatsoever, but their league is now going to be pulling in TV rights because they'll play ball with the broadcaster and they'll do whatever the broadcaster kind of says. And see anyone thinks that the EPL's level of quality dictates the broadcaster. No, it doesn't. Sky have Monday Night Football with people. Honestly, mate, you think Ireland to Glasgow to travel? You try and be in Southampton, going to Newcastle, and they'll put them on a Monday night, and they won't give two fucks about 10,000 Southampton fans. They will. Relative. It's so relative, mate.
And see, Bhoycie, see that 10,000. See that 10,000 that you'll piss off. There'll be another 20,000 that will replace that 10,000. I totally get it.
Do you understand where I'm going from? It's a good debate, though. I get your side too. I really get the argument you're making as well.
I said to you at the start, I've got a foot in both camps. Say, for example, you've got a ticket for Aberdeen for a game that you think's on a Saturday, and it gets changed to, say just for example, it gets changed for TV to a Sunday night at 8 o'clock, which has happened this season in the SPL for another team. A game's got changed to a Sunday night at 8 o'clock. And you then approach your work to try and get that Monday off because you're going to Aberdeen and you're not leaving Aberdeen to 10:30 and you're getting home at whatever time it takes. And your boss says, no, you can't have that day off. And I know that's bringing it down to one person, but that's the scenario for 10,000 people. And I get the argument that, right, fuck them 10,000. There's 20 more thousand people.
It's not fuck them 10,000. It's taking things into consideration.
That's what we're saying here.
No, but it's weighing it up. It's balancing out.
10,000, and Celtic are saying, no, don't fuck them 10,000. We're not doing it for 75.
But that's then not focusing on the bigger picture, the bigger brand. And then it'll be the same. And by the way, many of the 10,000 you're referring to going, Scottish football is treated like a backwater by the broadcasters, eh? And don't think then that will be those 10,000. Part of that won't be part of the ones forming the argument when the next broadcasting deal's done. They complain about how shit the Scottish TV money is, because they will be, because they're fans, and they'll watch the product and go, we deserve more. If you go back and you look at the TV deal, I know it was minuscule, probably even compared to what we get now. But in terms of percentagely wise, what it was like in comparison to what English football was getting, that was the most successful, was Scottish football in the late 90s, early 2000s, mate. Do you know why? I don't know who's ringing my buzzer. It's unusual my buzzer goes. Nah, I've not been listening to you, mate.
Tinder.
But what frustrates me is we used to do. No, I don't do Tinder, mate. Fuck it, look at me. God.
You don't need Tinder. You don't need Tinder.
Right, fuck all that. Fuck all that. I've got a point here. I've got a good point.
Get the cat to answer it. Go and get the cat to answer it.
He usually lets them in. But very quickly.
Answer that.
5:30 Saturday nights was when we made the most money we did TV-wise.
On the Bhoycie Bus or Celtic?
Scottish football in the late 90s, early 2000s is when Sky invested the most amount of money.
Yeah. Because that was a slot.
Right, I don't know who's ringing my...
That was a slot where they didn't have something.
We need to go, Terry, because this is relentless. No, it's got stopped.
Send Paddy.
So, Sky invested bigger. Sky invested bigger than Terry. Sky at that point were spending bigger money percentage-wise of what they would outlay on broadcasting. The broadcasting outlay was higher percentage-wise then on Scottish football than it is now, because Scottish football was going 5:30 Saturday nights, 5:30 Sunday nights. Fuck it, we'll take it. And look at what the clubs did at that time. Now, a lot of them overspent, but they got gallus. They got gallus with the money that was coming in, and they overspent their mark. But now everything is so small-minded. I think today's game. There was a comedy coming for Henrik McLaughlin. He's saying Grinder now. I know he's been funny in the chat all the time. But he says, how often does do we get a game like today, though? It's a total anomaly. Henrik, you are agreeing with me here. 100% records on the top two sides in fucking Scottish football is an anomaly. And that's one that I would have liked Celtic to have bowed to and went, do you know what? It is an anomaly. We're going to do it. We're going to move the time and we're going to get this broadcast live. And now, having watched the game, that was a miss, in my opinion.
Yeah, but think of all the people that you inconvenience if you do that, Bhoycie. And I reckon it's about close to 20% of the support.
Which is fair.
But
what's your potential support?
Do you think that's the right thing to do for the
No. I think morally, sometimes you're compromised. But I can't emphasize enough. I think that I look at the big leagues and they will compromise their morals at times.
Right, but here's what needs to happen then, Bhoycie. Here's what needs to happen. Somebody, somewhere along the line, at Celtic or within the Scottish League, needs to pull rank here and say, right, do you know what? We've got to deal with Sky. We've got to deal with these fucking dickheads. We've got to deal with these ones, and we've got to deal with these ones. We need to go negotiate a better deal. We need to go negotiate a better deal that gets us money that makes this viable and doesn't inconvenience the average man in the street who's spending all his disposable income supporting Celtic or supporting Aberdeen or supporting Rangers or supporting.
But how are you going to do that if when TV companies offer you the minimum price, which is where you're at right now, accept your value of your game, but you still turn that down? Well, don't be surprised when this next TV deal's agreed in the next few years. Rewind to this chat and accept there was no demand for it. Even your biggest game. Your man Terry said it was the best game of the season. You went in, and let's say we didn't know that before the game. Sound. You went into a fixture with the two teams at 100% record of the league after 7 games. The opposition.
If you want the product, fucking pay for it up front. Don't wait for Aberdeen to pull out a blue moon start to the season. This is all because Aberdeen.
Oh, you're wrong.
Started the season.
Oh, you're so
on
wrong.
A completely different level to anybody else.
Which is now Premier Sports' gift to be doing that, such as the shitness of the original deal that we have with Sky. Don't agree the Sky deal. Is that what you're going to say? Don't take the Sky deal. Good luck with that.
Supporters suffer for 50 grand.
But there'll be no Sky deal then, Terry. There'll be nothing. But folk don't get it.
Go to the games. Go to the games then if you want to watch it.
There's not enough tickets. What are you not getting?
Build a bigger stadium then. Expand the stand.
Well, Celtic have turned down more viewers to watch it, but haven't made the bigger
TV
stadium.
The TV deal's not worth a fuck. Do you know what I mean? We'd be better upgrading the original main stand by another 15,000 and fuck TV out the road for 75 grand. For 75 grand for a top of the table match.
So you want to talk about the 75 grand? That's fair enough. If it's about 75 grand.
No, but when are they going to pay more for it?
Redundant.
When are they going to pay more than 75 grand?
Not right now when you turn it down. See, when you turn down putting the biggest games on the cameras, what value are you putting on the product?
So listen, here, I had this conversation today. We were at a match today at one of the Irish League grounds over here. My two boys were involved in it. And it's a small stadium with 2,000, which for over here is a big stadium with massive capacity. But we were looking at it and there's houses all around the stadium. And if you were living in those houses, you could look out. And I said to one of the other coaches, see if this was an SPL game and Celtic were playing away on Sky Sports, you would have about 10 people hanging out of that window with bottles of Buckfast and cans of Tennent's. And it looks so tin pot. It looks
so right. You're so right.
Absolute tin pot on Sky TV in one of these wee grounds with people hanging out of windows fucking drinking bottles of Bucky. And that's the first thought came into my head when we were in one of these wee stadiums. I don't see how we're going to get more money out of these people. I really don't.
I think a step in the right direction would be selling the product that we just watched today, which everyone did watch illegally.
Oh, it was the best match of the season.
That's just my take. But anyway,
we're
going to call it there. I need to find out who the fuck was at my door because I've got a feeling it was my pal's bird. Amy, we're pals.
Your pal's bird looking for you.
No, we're our mates. We're her mates. No, our mates. It's not like that. No. Oh, fuck off. No, but they do tend to fucking just randomly shop, so I'm going to need to deal with that. Right. Anyway, I've enjoyed the pod. Anyone half Terry, we've done okay. And enjoyed the game today. At the end of the day, I enjoyed 100%. The game.
Welcome to the challenge.
Top of the league, baby. And I'll see you later. I'm just going to cut it off now. See you.
Cheers. Thank you.
I think we're done.
We're still live, you dickhead.